Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude, helping you to understand your weather even better. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for our last day of August, August 31st, 2019. As always, for the latest quality weather content, please subscribe, as well as sharing this video, and ringing the bell notifications, never miss a video again, and please look in the description for other videos of mine with superior weather content that you won't find anywhere else. And please consider watching the whole video because you could probably guess what I'm talking about today. Yeah, it's Hurricane Dorian, yet again. And I might do another video too after this on it. I mean, same thing, like if you see other YouTube meteorologists, they'll do like 7 videos in a row of like severe weather coverage. So, I'm not ashamed to talk about this storm in nearly every video. But, I mean, it should be, it's coming in. It's in the Western Atlantic, it's making landfall soon in the Bahamas and maybe even the Southeast. That's what we're going to watch today. And we'll just have to see how it comes out. But you know what? We pray for the best. And I hope, folks in Florida and the Southeast are preparing now. Alright, so let's hop right into it here. And let's go to the static cone. Again, as I usually will do, I will put the 2 p.m. because there will be a 2 p.m. advisory in about 53 minutes. So I will put that in the comment section because this video is not going to be 53 minutes long. So this is National Hurricane Center update from about 2 hours ago from 11 a.m. And you can see winds of 150 miles per hour right now. This thing is a Cat 4 beast. And, I mean, a lot of people have been asking, is this going to be Category 5? And I'd say it could be, but that really doesn't matter. The difference between a 155 mile per hour Category 4 and a 160 mile per hour Category 5, there's really no difference, if you think about it. Except maybe the storm surge is a teeny bit higher, and maybe you got a little bit stronger winds, but other than that, that's about it. And I've looked, and it's on the National Hurricane Center map right here. The wind gusts right now from Hurricane Dorian are 185 miles per hour. Not the sustained winds, which is 150, but 185 mile per hour wind gust, and it could exceed 190 even. And it has slowed down since the last advisory. The 8 a.m. advisory, I believe, said it was moving at 12. It is now moving at 8 miles per hour. And it's moving due west. Here's the question, though. After the Bahamas, where does it make that turn? I got news for you. Florida could still be directly impacted even if the storm takes its offshore motion, as shown here. Let's go to the warnings, and this is like a little interactive map here. So here's the initial wind radiation, and you can see the tropical storm force winds by this teal here don't really reach the Bahamas yet. But we are seeing some bands starting moving into the Bahamas. But they might not even be associated with Dorian. They could just be like those random pop-up ones. And if you look at the past track, okay, it's definitely been moving north, or north-northwest, making northwest and now a west turn. So, I mean, I find it, almost hard to believe how, like, a hurricane go like this, go this, and do this again. It's going to be very, I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's not very often we see, like, a track like that. So, here we are. This is what they're forecasting. And I got news for you. Every time one of these National Hurricane Center cones are released, it's like the storm ends up being stronger than than every cone shown. So 155s will probably, in my standards, it'd probably be a Cat 5. This is 8 p.m. advisory tonight. Again, look at the wind gust there. 190. That is crazy. Okay, I think we had like those wind gusts with Irma. I think Irma actually might have gotten the 200. The wind gusts, not the sustained winds. But then it's going to stay 150, and then it's going to drop a little bit more as it's the Bahamas. Here's the question, though. Can the Bahamas weaken the storm? It could. After it moves out of the Bahamas, 140, 130. But, I mean, look at this, though. Palm Bay, Melbourne, Orlando, Gainesville, Space Coast, Palm Coast, Jacksonville, you're still in the cone. Okay? Even outside the cone, you can still have impacts. And the chances, let's take off the cone a sec here. Alright, even in Orlando, even though the storm looks like it's way to your east, it's offshore, and Orlando, you might be thinking it's not really near the coast. This is 30 to 40% chance, 40 to 50, right here, 50 to 60. So Orlando is still in a 60 to 70% chance of tropical storm force winds. And that's very, shocking, and that's winds of 40 miles per hour plus, which can certainly do some damage. And even though the storm is offshore, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Titusville, Daytona Beach, even Palm Coast, even Port St. Lucie. Like, greater than 8 out of 10 chance, or even a 9 out of 10 chance of having tropical storm force winds. Now, how about the chances of having 58? So 58 miles per hour means like a high-end tropical storm. And you might be asking, if this is a hurricane, then why are we talking about having tropical storm force winds? Because the uncertainty is still there. So, like, the hurricane chances right now might, for say like Orlando, might be 10 to 20, but that could go up to 40 to 50 once the uncertainty gets, who knows. Let's look at the chances of winds of 58 miles per hour plus. This is considered a strong tropical storm, and we see that the chances of 58 miles per hour plus in Orlando, you have a 1 out of 3 chance still of having winds of 58 miles per hour plus. You have a 1 out of 3 chance. So it's 30, 40, 40, 50. So you still have a greater chance in Melbourne and Palm Bay, in Titusville, Daytona Beach, Port Orange, Space Coast, Palm Coast, and Port St. Lucie yet again. All those areas along the coast, you have a greater chance of seeing winds of 58 miles per hour or greater than not. So, in other words, a greater than 50% chance. So, a little trend in the models. It's been shifting in east, but a little kick in the model. About the most recent 12Z GFS run kicks it about 10-20 miles west, if that, like barely. So that makes a big difference. And the chance of having a hurricane, about a 1 or about a 2 out of 10 chance at the best in Orlando. But look at this, we still have a 1 out of 3 chance for places like Palm Bay, but I mean these guys are like 20 to 30 here. But Melbourne and Palm Bay, you guys have a 1 out of 3 shot of seeing hurricane force winds. And then that's just the wind aspect. And I know you hear a lot of people and a lot of people saying, well, wind doesn't matter, it's the rain that counts. And yes, I totally agree. But don't forget though, wind also causes the storm surge, and we know storm surge is one of the greatest threats too. So this is valid for 8 o'clock a.m. I mean, this really needs some updating. I mean, you can probably get a better update on tonight or tomorrow. Even when the track is offshore, like it's showing right now, even with an offshore track, Orlando, you're still going to see 4 to 6 inches of rain potentially. All the Space Coast, Palm Coast, Melbourne, Palm Bay, Port St. Lucie, you guys can still see 6 to 10 inches of rain. So this is why you need to evacuate if you're told to do so. However, the greatest rainfall as of now is in the Bahamas. And strangely enough, and I'm going to take you guys there right now. Strangely enough, the NAM model is calling for 71 inches of rain. Right there. Really? I mean, it can happen, but that's nearly 6 feet of rain. And that's probably excessive, but you know what? It can still happen, especially with a slow-moving storm like this. I'm just putting it out there that the NAM model said that. But the greatest rainfall is going to be in the Bahamas with probably, like, beyond double-digit rainfall. But if you're talking about what is a spot out of the storm in the lower 48 that could see the worst rainfall? And as of this current track, probably going to say Charleston, South Carolina, you guys could see like double-digit rainfalls as well. But look at this. It even goes out to Virginia Beach. Even the Delaware coast can see 1 to 2 inches of rain from this. I mean, and even places like, you know, Virginia Beach, the Delmarva, especially the southern Delmarva, you have a 1 to 10 or 2 out of 10 chance nearly of seeing tropical storm force winds. And that's really crazy. And could this be a mid-Atlantic northeast threat? It could. I'm not ruling it out. Chances is a little low, as stated on the Weather Channel, but you know what? It could certainly still happen. Here's the arrival time of the tropical storm force winds. Again, Bahamas, like overnight Sunday. So probably late tonight into Sunday morning for the Bahamas there. I'm sorry, this is early 3 mile one, most likely. Sorry, wrong one. Most likely. So Bahamas, yes, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. For Florida, it could be Monday morning. Savannah, Georgia, maybe Tuesday night. Cape Hatteras, Wednesday night. So you see the storm's not moving all that fast. Alright, so that's the winds. Now here is some model runs. This right here, I do believe is the, let me see. Yes, it's probably the, this is the GFS. And this is the NAM, because I can tell, because this one looks more high definition. So we're going to start here by looking at the GFS model. And as you can see, I'm going to I'm gonna take this bad boy from the beginning here. As the GFS model shows, let's go through in time here. Let's start. Alright, so you can see this is the simulated radar, and here's the GFS. Now I'm gonna stop this at some point. I think I might stop it right now. Let's move it a little bit farther ahead, and I'm gonna show you why you can still have some threats. GFS is not really a high definition model, so the NAM will describe this better. But even if it's offshore, look at these little bands trying to sneak through Florida. They're still going to have these rain bands that can certainly dump a couple inches of rain at least in a short amount of time. And here it comes. Boom. There it is. You can already see. Look, here's the GFS model. This is band 1 moving across Florida, moving through Orlando. Okay. Let's go to next tab here. There's band number 2. You're having these constant bands moving through Central Florida still, even if the storm is offshore. Now, let's not forget the coastal impacts. You're going to probably have as much as probably like 15, 18 feet of storm surge, just like it's going to be in the Bahamas. The wave heights could be nearly 30 feet according to the Wave Watch model, Wave Watch 3 model, probably 25 feet. And the waves of 10 foot plus, I'm going to show you later on in the video, the waves of 10 foot plus will be there days before the storm even gets here. All right. So you see there's band number 2 moving through Central Florida. Okay, and that band even makes it down South Florida, but here's a third band. And I'll probably show you this better on the NAM model because it's more high definition. But still, you could say, and look at this. And when the storm leaves, it's getting so much energy that it's got to be radiated out. And there it is. Excessive heavy rain there. Another band moving through. And this one band here, if this model plays out right, could make it all the way to Tampa and through Orlando. So if you guys are in central western Florida, don't let your guard down. East Coast, you're still in it. I mean, if you're on like the eastern coast of Florida, like the chances never really dropped of you having a significant hurricane event. Like the chances never dropped. The chances dropped a little bit for central and western Florida, but the East Coast, you're still in it. And unless the storm track goes even farther east in the 2 o'clock update, which comes in about 42 minutes, who knows? But here there's a landfall and nearly a landfall of South Carolina, even North Carolina. But then here's the question. Look at this. Look how these bands radiate all the way up through Maryland, the Delaware coast, the Jersey coast. I mean, we're talking about like several days out, but just something to watch. Just something to watch. All right, here we go. This is the NAM model. This one goes out 84 hours, so it's not going to take. This won't take the storm through North Carolina like the GFS did, because the GFS model goes out about 16 days at a time. So here's the NAM model. And again, look at this. Well before the storm even gets here, right? I mean, the storm's probably still in the Bahamas even. And we're going to have some bands coming through Florida. And you want me to tell you why that is? Well, let's go to the National Hurricane Center official website to find out more. All right, not to mention you got 2 other disturbances there in the Atlantic. It's all because of this. Another disturbance. And you got one out in the Atlantic that has a 60% chance of development in the next 5 days. This one over here I'm more focused on has a 20% chance of development. It's still throwing that south flow into Florida. Okay? And matter of fact, that might be that upper level low that was keeping the storm weak. There was like a low pressure, so that could be the same one. And except it's drifted down to the surface. And that's hoping to enhance some rainfall in Florida. So, way before the storm even gets here, and you can see there's that other low pressure. But look at this. Look at this band of rain come through. Well before Dorian even gets here. And it's going to grow in size. And intensity, of course. And look at this. Look at this band. This band looks even more powerful. Here's another powerful band. And I keep talking about bands. Why? Well, if Dorian doesn't hit, if the storm doesn't make landfall in Florida, which it still could, it could not. Even if it doesn't make landfall, you're still going to have to worry about the rain bands and become detached from the system. These these outflow boundaries. And then upper level low, even though it gave us some dry air and wind shear on its way to becoming a hurricane, it's actually aiding because the wind shear is just far enough away from the storm where it can aid and create these outflow boundaries, and it can create, outer bands of rain far from the storm itself. So there's that band moving through eastern Florida, and then the main storm starts moving up. And now look at this according to the NAM model. The whole state of Florida almost, at least the whole, peninsula, not the whole state, but the peninsula gets all, just flooded in with rain. And it's continuing that way. So I'm going to go to the home website of the model analysis. And we're going to go to the NAM model and see how much precipitation it's all about. So let's go to, so if you ever want to do this yourself, just go to model guidance. In this case, I'm going to the Western Atlantic. I'm going to NAM. And I'm going to go to precipitation for, do they have precipitation for 84? I hope they do. Alright, so let's go to P60 because I don't see anything about 24. That's weird. Or 84, I should say. P60, here we go. Alright, here we go. Let's loop all 84. So this is like a, I guess like a 5-day kind of rate. I don't know if I pulled the right one, but this is 84 hours. Okay, so this is the forecast of the precipitation. And you can see, just look at the south side of that system here. And even Florida. Getting these feeder bands, you're going to get more of that precipitation coming in. Let me actually go to the Tropical Tidbits website. Then I want to go to forecast model so I can tell us better on the NAM scale. So let's go to Southeast US. But that model that I just showed you was the NAM 12 km. And we're going to go to total accumulated precip. I just want to show you that even though the storm is staying offshore, this doesn't limit your threat by any means, especially the precipitation. So let's let this load here, and here we go. Even though the storm is staying offshore, right? I mean, you're gonna have these bands that come through that drop over an inch of rain, and it could certainly be more than this. They don't know, not yet. So it just goes to show that you're going to give it time. You have to give it time. And here's the visible. Look at that eye. Oh, that is just breathtaking to see. I don't know why it wasn't clocking earlier. That's weird. But you can see, look at this. And it's starting to gain a little bit more northern latitudes. Look at the beginning of this loop. The eye is right on the 26N line. And let's look at the end of the, maybe because it was refreshing. Maybe that's why it's clocking. But if we look toward the end of this loop, if it ever does load. Let me just back it up. Yeah, so there it is. Now the eye is a little bit more north, so it's not right on 26 anymore. It's more so maybe like 26.2. So it's gaining a little bit more northern latitudes, but it doesn't have to turn out to sea. It all depends on the high pressure and if it can weaken or not. So let's go to the visible loop right here. Let's stop it. And you can see the eye looks cloud filled here, but the IR loop, the infrared, shows you that it's really going clear to the ground. And the eye is pretty much perfect. You see it looks a little cloud filled, but nothing that's going to weaken it by any means. Oh, sorry, we got a full visible loop now. So look at this. So look at this. It starts at 26, moves a little. It's moving like almost like a northwesterly direction, like a west-northwesterly direction. 2 p.m. update from National Hurricane Center is 36 minutes now. And you can see these bands. Look at these bands starting to come close to the northern Bahamas. So it's something we're going to have to watch. Look at the tropical storm conditions. Could even get all the way into the western part of Florida. According to this here, Wisconsin, I believe this was, yes, Wisconsin University, Wisconsin State University. And hurricane conditions potentially for almost Orlando even. But most likely the coast. Orlando could see some 58 mile per hour plus winds. But it goes all the way north here. They can have some impacts far from the center here. Especially when you talk about waves. So you can see the shear looks a little bit stronger. Next 5 days, maybe 16, 22 knots. But nothing that hurts it all too much. Ocean temperature is 28 to 30. So that's like mid 80s to near 90 degrees in the oceans. We got that all patted down. And heat content is definitely down, especially in this time period here, from 3 days out to 4 days out. That's when we see the most, or actually, no, from 1 day out until 3 days out. So that's probably where you're going to see your most heat content. All right, ocean temperature anomalies, didn't really want to focus on this too much. They're average, slightly below average, but nonetheless, you look at the ocean temperatures, I mean, really, they're fine. Especially closer to landfall once it gets on that Gulf Stream. No, Gulf Stream, and the waters are warmer there because it's like a moving, it's a moving current here. So the Gulf Stream obviously is going to have warmer waters, and as it does in this case. So here's a better look at the NAM again. Becoming a lot familiar with the NAM. I'm going to go to the 12Z run. That would be nice, right? All right. So as you can see, even though it's it's still going to move the coast. You can still have these excessive bands, or bands that can produce excessive rains like so, that move through Florida. So even though we could be avoiding a direct impact, and what I also noticed is that the low pressure, the bands here that move through Florida, could even feed into the strength of this other low pressure that the National Hurricane Center said had a 20% chance of development. Those bands could add some moisture to that system. Who knows? It's all in the realm of possibilities. Aircraft reconnaissance, I'm actually going to pull up the latest reconnaissance. And here it is. And they're finding winds greater than, still same winds, 113 to 137 knots. Maybe they'll make another pass in the storm, but I think they might be on their way out. But you can see just in that eye wall, my gosh. Just stunning winds. I wouldn't be surprised in the 2 p.m. update, which comes in about a half hour. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they made it 155, nearly a Cat 5. 157 is a Cat 5, but they usually put their numbers ending in 0 and 5. So 160 would be Cat 5, but really generally, or typically it's 157 is the Cat 5. So it's a GFS going offshore, but again, a 10-mile shift to the west, I noticed. I compared between the model runs. And again, where it goes, could produce excessive rainfall here. Virginia Beach, off the Atlantic waters. Certainly it's going to throw in some wind and rain on the coast of the mid-Atlantic, potentially. Potentially, not certainly. Here's the ECMWF, the Euro model. Look at this. Wow, they're making this thing a beast. And even after North Carolina, could be a Category 1, could be a Category 2. And there it is. As of the 0Z run. The 12Z run comes in an hour and a half, which is at 3 o'clock. Usually when it comes out. So that's the Euro model. Here's windy again, that's 70-inch rainfall total. Don't even know how that happens. That's just weird. Here's the Euro model. In the next 10 days. Here's your total rainfall. Could have several inches along the eastern Florida coast. Even interior Florida could have 2 inches. And GFS has a little bit more farther out to sea. But again, the main point here being, just be careful no matter what. Alright, so let's see. I kind of want to zoom out. Let me take a minute and zoom out. Alright, here we go. So, we are looking at Florida. We're going to look at the wave heights. Actually, let me go ahead and pull up the wave heights. You're looking at the wave heights here. Let's go into Sunday. Look at this. As I zoom in here to the east coast of Florida near Coca, look at this. The storm is nowhere near here yet. Okay, we're talking about like overnight Sunday into Monday. 7-foot waves already. By the time you get into Tuesday, 8-foot, 10-foot waves. And you can see out where the storm is. 32-foot waves. According to the ECMWF WAM model. Okay. And you can see it continues 33-foot. And the waves only get stronger, and then the storm moves up the coastline and out to sea. And the wave heights only grow here. 42 feet. Well, luckily, it's off the water, at least for now. Now, if that storm were to move farther to the west, those 42-foot waves could get closer, and so that beach is going to almost disappear. Let's hope not. So, that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I'll give you another update or two on Dorian before it starts making impacts and it's done with the southeast and even the mid-Atlantic. Who knows? So thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, especially if they're in the path of the storm. They need to know about this. Thank you for watching. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time. Catch you guys next video.